Today I am catching up with Harry Coffey. Harry is one of Victoria's top jockeys, a new dad, one of this year's Great Strides ambassadors, and he also lives with cystic fibrosis. Hi Harry, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, I was wondering when I was looking, I've obviously heard a lot about you over the last number of years, but I was wondering when I was looking at the notes for today's interview, how does a young boy growing up with cystic fibrosis and all of the, I guess, routines and changes to your young lifestyle that comes with cystic fibrosis, how do you go on to become one of Victoria's top jockeys?
Yeah, well, how that happens is looking back, I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, since being on Tricafta, I look back and think how I did it was with great difficulty because obviously things have come a long way and life's a lot easier. But yeah, back then it was the same as everything growing up. You didn't know anything different, and you just got up every day and took it as it come. And fortunately enough, I've always been well enough to be able to play sport, keep up with all the other kids at school, and then as I became a young adult, got further involved with the racing industry to a point where I started riding in races and was apprentice jockey to my father, Osty, who's a trainer. So that's how I got into it, and probably having my boss being my dad probably helped a fair bit because obviously health came first every time. Mum and Dad made sure of that, but yeah, I was pretty lucky looking back that I was able to do it all because, as I said, it was quite difficult, but having luck on our side and staying healthy and well allowed me to yeah, compete at a very professional level in one of the toughest industries in the world.
And so your dad was a trainer, you just mentioned. Did you always know that you would want to sort of, I guess, in a way, follow his path and end up in the horse racing industry, or did you have other sports that you also enjoyed?
Yeah, so Dad is still a trainer, and we all live up in Swan Hill, up on the Murray River at Victoria, and he's trained horses pretty much since I was born, and was a farrier before that, so he's very involved in the racing industry. As a kid growing up, I liked horses and rode them, and was always on a horse wherever could be, but I mainly enjoyed sports like football, AFL and cricket, and played them sort of sports at school. It wasn't till I became a little bit older, probably around the age of 14, that I started to take a really heavy interest in the racing industry, and that was when I started to ride racehorses rather than just ponies leisurely. And I started riding track work for Dad, and yeah, it went from there. Rode in a jump out, which is like a mock of a race. It's just for training purposes with no money involved, and I really enjoyed that jump out. And yeah, it went from there, and I applied as an apprentice jockey at Racing Victoria and got onto the short list, and then was taken. So they only take a number of apprentices every year that apply to be jockeys, and yeah, luckily enough, I got into the apprentice school even with them knowing my health battles with CF. But yeah, Dad's a pretty respected figure in the industry, so maybe having him as my boss and father helped me along the way, and yeah, it went a fair way for me being able to get into the apprentice school at Racing Victoria.
That's a great story. And it's nice to know that it's good to think that all industries can eventually have people living with CF within them. So then that education side can be there around cystic fibrosis, because there's no reason why you couldn't become an apprentice jockey and go on to have the amazing career that you've had. But I wonder whether that would have been the case had you not had your dad there advocating for you as well.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, at the beginning, Racing Victoria, they don't want to, not so much waste. It's a terrible word, but they didn't want to. They weren't exactly a full wrap of giving me a position when they're knocking back so many candidates every year in their apprentice school. It costs a lot of money for these young riders to be taken on. But yeah, Dad said, look, I think he's up to it, and if his health ever gets in the way, we'll definitely be putting his health first, and we won't be risking, any jockey or anybody anywhere. We know him best, and we won't put him through something that we don't think he's capable of. So, yeah, I think Dad and Mum, went a fair way for me being able to be involved in this industry. But yeah, now as it's turned out with how well I am and how well so many other people are with CF, I don't think there would be an issue with anyone taking part in anything they wanted to do with the amazing new drugs.
I imagine the routine that you have to follow, you know, your health, both physical and mental, that keeps you as a successful jockey is intense as it is, just like the routine that a lot of people have to follow when they're living with cystic fibrosis. Can you tell us about both routines and how you manage, I guess, now that you're on Trikafta and how that's changed from before?
Yeah, well, my lifestyle has changed so much since going on Trikafta. My medication intake has halved in the pills that I take each day. I used to live on antibiotics and Pormazine and needing regular physiotherapy, as well as heading into hospital for admissions 3 times a year, to the point now where, as I said, I've halved my medication. My physiotherapy is purely just doing exercise outdoors or actual riding track work of a morning, and I don't take antibiotics regularly now. I only take them when need, if a little bug comes along. So in terms of my routine, it has changed so much in the last couple of years. As a kid growing up, I remember every day would start with mum walking into the room and putting me on a nebulizer, for 10 minutes, getting everything going, and then getting onto the flutter and sitting, doing 10 sets of 10. And mum used to sit in the bedroom and make me do it, and she'd do push-ups or sit-ups with me to get me through. And then, you'd get up and out of bed and head off to school and try and keep up with the other kids all day while sneaking tablets every time you ate, hoping someone that didn't know you would be wondering what you're putting down your gob in the middle of the schoolyard. To the point now where, I live what I consider a very normal life. So things have changed dramatically, but routine growing up was pretty intense. But I had parents that always put me first and put my health first, and that routine was just every day, right or wrong. And if you didn't do it, you weren't going to be able to live what could be considered somewhat of a normal life. So, and I think that routine from a young age, my parents drilling that into me about medications and physio treatment, and that it had to be done less. You couldn't get out there and do what you want. I think that now is actually benefiting me in a terms of in a work sense, that I'm very dedicated to what I do, and I understand when going to work the things that need to happen, and when competing at a high level in big races, my the way I go about things is very polished and very professional, because of the way I was brought up, with knowing that if you don't prepare right, you can't compete well. So that's, in terms of routine, it's always been very strict, and fortunately now that I'm older, it's changed so much for the better. So I'm very lucky and very grateful for that.
That's so true what you say, and I'd actually never thought of it that way, but to become, a high, whether it be super successful in a sport or in business or whatever it may be, routine is quite often the undercurrent of that success for so many people. And you don't realise that you learnt that from birth. That was just a key component and part of your life and your survival, but I can see very clearly how that would have carried across.
Yeah, that's right. And looking back now with the way Trikafta's changed my life, it makes you appreciate everything that little bit more, because growing up with CF, everyone would go, oh, how do you do it? Well, you actually don't know how you do it, because you don't know any different. You don't know what it was like to be normal. Normal was what you were, and that was get up, do physio, and then try and keep up with everybody else. Where now, you wake up healthy, and it might be a clear of the throat, and you get rid of the sputum that was sitting in your lung. Or I might be out riding a horse and I have a cough and a splatter, and that helps me out for the day, rather than 10 sets of 10 on a flutter and then Pormazine following it. So, it's amazing now to just think what life was like, and now how simplistic it's become, in a sense that I'm able to get up and live a lot more normal. So it makes you appreciate that greatly. And I'm also appreciative of the fact that my medication and treatment, my mum, my dad, nurses and doctors, everyone involved while growing up for me, kept me stable enough and healthy that I was able to get to this point that Trikafta was a benefit for me, because obviously, sadly enough, there would be a lot of people that are my age that didn't get to see it out to get this advanced medication that can help us so much. So I'm truly grateful and will always be so amazed that I was able to get this far and fully benefit from this amazing medication.
And that's exactly what it is. And it's nice that you mentioned that too. I mean, there's a range of people that are still living with cystic fibrosis that are hanging on to hope, I think, who cannot, for whatever reason, don't have access to Trikafta or can't take Trikafta. Just following on from that, you sort of mentioned how your life has changed considerably since starting on Trikafta, but even more so, I would say, maybe in the last 4 or 5 months. So for people who know you or have followed your journey, they'll know that you recently became a dad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for as many people listening with CF will know, that the journey to becoming a mum or dad, it's not your normal path. It comes with many challenges. Can you tell us about your journey to fatherhood?
Yes, so me and my wife Taylor, who's done a great job, she has to put up with me, but then also had to go through the IVF process because of our CF complications. She done a terrific job. We did 2 rounds, and unfortunately our first round didn't work out for the best, so we backed up and went again. And fortunately enough, we got lucky the second round, and we did that with the team at the Monash IVF clinic, and they were great. There's a lot of hard times involved, and it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster. But nearly 4 months in, we've got young Thomas, who's our son, and looking back, we wouldn't change a single thing. So it is a tough road, and you need to be, a strong couple. It's very character building, but it makes me appreciate Taylor more because she had to put herself through it. It wasn't her issues that caused the IVF. It was me having CF, but we both look at Thomas now, and we're both over the moon. So it's pretty amazing that in the last 2 years I went on to Trikafta and then was able to have a baby. So that's 2 things that science and medicine has advanced so much in, and I'm the beneficiary of it both within 12 to 24 months. So it's amazing.
Congratulations. And will Thomas and your family be at Great Strides this year?
Yes, that's the plan. Unless there's a blizzard rolling through with snow, we probably, which I reckon it rained last year that I was there. But yeah, that's the plan is so far to have the pram there rolling around the lake. So hopefully that all works out and that we can be there.
Beautiful. It did rain. I wasn't there last year, but it did rain. But I believe that it stopped for the walk. So it rained before and after. But this year we're praying and hoping for a beautiful spring, sunny day. But at the end of the day, we just take what we're given on that day.
You don't feel the rain as much when you're walking fast, do you?
No, exactly. And you get it over and done nice and quickly. So Great Strides, as I mentioned, it's coming up on the 17th of September at Albert Park Lake. You're going to be there. You were there last year. How many years have you been involved with Great Strides?
I would be unaware. I reckon I would have done 5 or 6 walks. But my mum and father, Marie and Osty would have done, they might have done 8 to 10 walks in a row, actually, other than when COVID hit. So they're more loyal servants than I am. But I've done my fair share of stepping out, and a lot of my family goes down and some family friends, and we have a group, and then they link up with Country Racing Victoria, who are great supporters of the event, and we're able to raise, some really nice amounts of money, and have a good walk together and a good chat, and raise awareness around CF, more importantly. So Country Racing do a great job. My family and family friends do a great job, and we put it in the spotlight a bit and create some awareness and raise some funds.
And we appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you. And you're right, Country Racing Victoria have now been on board for a number of years supporting cystic fibrosis community care, but also supporting Great Strides. So just to confirm that Great Strides is on the 17th of September. People can hop onto our website and register at greatstrides.org.au and come down and look out for Harry and the family and baby Thomas, and you can do a 5-kilometre walk of the lake, or you can do a couple of laps and do 10 kilometres. But we look forward to seeing you there, Harry.
Yes, as we said, hopefully the weather's nice, but it should be a good day, and it's awesome, the awareness that it creates and the CF community getting together. It's a great idea, and it sort of continues to get bigger, I feel, so hopefully it can keep trending that way.
Absolutely, and all money raised from the day goes to supporting people living with cystic fibrosis. Thank you so much for your time today. It was great to chat to you.
No, awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for getting me on.